Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the KYCAPM show. Stop the jocularity, folks. And guess what? For those of you at home, if you didn't already figure it out, it's that time of the month where we get together and talk about nothing, because nothing is happening in the city. It is the panel of all knowledge. Everything you didn't want to know but are forced to find out about anyway. Our phone lines, well, don't even worry about trying to interrupt today, because honestly there's nothing going on in the city. Absolutely nothing happening in the county. This is just a nothing burger right now. So just to tell us more about nothing, let's go around the room very quickly. Nonpartisan former Prescott City Councilman Bob Roecker. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm fine.
You were nonpartisan while you were
Absolutely,
on the council?
of course.
Anyway, what have you got coming up next week?
Next week, this time, I'm going to have Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Mary Mallory, on the Bob Show. So mark your calendars, and if you got any questions about what's going on in the county, this is your chance to ask her.
Well, she's always a fun interview. That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great. We love
Be
having
fun.
her in.
Yep.
All right, around the table also at the end, of course, nonpartisan former Prescott City Councilman Tom Reilly. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
You're quite welcome. Across from me, former nonpartisan City Councilman Malcolm Barrett Jr.
Yes, I'm nonpartisan city councilman, past city councilman, and I couldn't agree with that more. But depending on approval from station management, I hope to have Greg Lizelle on Thursday.
All right, we're looking forward to that.
Assume he's eligible.
As far as I can tell, yes.
Okay.
Let's say yes until I say no.
Okay.
And for
That works.
And you know what? You asked.
I did.
And not only that, you asked politely.
I did.
So I'm going to give you 10 points.
Okay.
That brings you up to
I'm silent the rest of the show.
That brings you up to minus 20. Congratulations. All right. And, of course, catty-cornered from me, of course, is the Dean of the Morning Coffee Group, former nonpartisan Prescott City Councilman Phil King. How you doing?
Thank you. Very well.
All
Glad
right.
to do it. Having a great time in the garden.
All
like
right.
Voltaire said.
We were discussing that. It's that time of year again, and
It
that's
is
fantastic.
indeed, yes.
Have you got your wood pile split yet?
Not all of it. Malcolm and I made a couple of hunting trips for firewood, plus what I...
Well, this
What you
well
got
this
here?
year we did my dad's back acre and pulled out
Oh.
2 or 3 cords of very hard, very heavy seasoned oak,
Yeah.
large
Oh, it's
oak
beautiful.
logs.
Ooh, okay, that's neat.
That was
All right.
fun.
Back east, it was oak and ash. So out here, it's just. Is there an Arizona ash?
Yes, there is.
We
Arizona
loaded.
ash. We did.
We loaded a load
I-
for my neighbor.
Yeah, you can actually buy them at the nurseries. They do real well here.
Oh wow.
Arizona ash.
They're drought tolerant, nice shade tree.
And ever since then, I've been accusing Phil of hauling ash.
And you
I
lost
knew
your
it.
points.
There you go.
Minus,
If you're scoring at home, Malcolm's at minus 30. Everybody else is at plus 5.
In
all
our
right.
backyard, we have suddenly got chipmunks. And
Okay.
then a couple days ago, we were sitting out there, and Wendy recorded it was I don't know if it was a bull snake or a gopher snake, but I thought, well,
One
the
of the
chipmunks
same.
are going to be in big trouble.
No, the
in our
chipmunks
backyard.
scurry
They're
right up the
endangered
side of
now.
your house and sneak into your soffit and
They-
invade your attic.
They might do that. Yep.
Make sure your screens are tight and they
I
can't
need
get
to
in
do
there.
that because
Yep.
They're
Absolutely.
nasty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Don't want that.
So basically, as nothing is going on, absolutely nothing, we can talk about just about anything. And so, as inflation has hit and the penny is gone, I'd like a nickel for your thoughts here.
It's about time. What are we going to do with sales tax now? Are we going to round up, round down?
I think you just pull the pennies out of your jar at home.
Nobody
Yeah,
pays
your
cash.
zinc.
What are you going to do with
Yeah.
gasoline?
And
It's
who
always
carries-
99.
Yeah, that's when it started.
What did you do?
$1.99, 25.9.
But what did you do with gasoline when you had 9/10 of a cent? What did you do then?
No,
Oh, there you
I've
go.
always wondered why that happened. Like,
Well,
what-
it's the same thing, Walmart, $8.99,
Yeah.
$2.89,
Yeah.
$3.79.
everything
the
is.
color of the sign.
Well, I just wanted an aside here, and
Yeah.
you're all going taking off on it. It's great. Okay, nickel for your thoughts, gentlemen. Of course, we had an appointment to the Prescott City Council, and since everyone's been discussing this for the past hour already,
Nonpartisan past council members.
yeah, that's right. Then let's see, his name's Jim Grady. Did I get
Yes.
that right? Okay, and he is on the council for today's meeting. As a matter of fact, this is his first full council. And the voting process was, shall we say, a little unusual, as I think Mayor Good and Lois
Gutless,
Fruworth.
feckless, and disingenuous.
Okay.
Those
that
were.
sums it
I
up.
was thinking invalid, but
Well, yeah, there's that
Well,
too.
you
all
can
right.
question it.
Okay, so anyway, the mayor and Lois Fruworth recused themselves as they were part of the Republican apparatus. Is
There
that
is
right?
no such restriction either in the bylaws or anything else against voting for somebody
Well-
in a nonpartisan election,
Yeah.
and they made it partisan with their actions.
Yeah, but there
And-
was a Republican there they could have voted
Oh.
for, which shows you how vacuous their excuse is.
Oh, it
It's
was lame because
It's
they
a
didn't want to
lameness.
vote for a particular person,
Yeah.
and they invoked that. Well, it's a conflict of interest, but you know what? In order for them to be recalled as their position as precinct committeeman, it must be up to every voter within their precinct, every registered voter, to recall them.
Does anybody
What are the odds of that happening?
Does anybody think that there was some kind of legal advice given to these people?
If
Yes,
it
there
was.
was.
It was
Yes,
invalid.
supposedly there was that the city attorney said something.
Okay, because I suspected that, but I didn't hear anything because he shut me down in a water meeting one time and said, "You can't talk about that. It's not on the agenda." And I said, "Well, yes, it is." "Oh, no, you can't." And he got up, and stomped out because I was countering him, and it ticked me off to no end. And this whole thing that just happened ticks me off too. Not that it matters that
Well,
it ticks me off, but it's wrong. What happened
There
was
were
wrong.
there were three candidates. Some of them didn't like one. Some of them didn't like the other. So
Right.
the
and
the
a
motions-
Republican, an Independent, and a
Yeah,
Democrat.
and the motions on the floor for the one particular name, they could have voted no,
Yes.
and the motion would have failed 3-3.
right.
Then you could posit another name, and you could take a vote on that one. And if that failed, then you could take the third and
Keep
take
going.
that one. You sit down and you make an appointment. You don't use lame excuses to hide under the table.
I'm wondering what Tom thinks.
Well, I think the reality of the situation is that at least the mayor, Phil Good, is more than likely positioning himself for a run for higher office
Oh,
within the
no
Republican
doubt.
Party.
No doubt.
I mean, and he's doing that at the expense
At
of,
the expense of his
doing
current
his job right.
obligations.
Excuse me, Malcolm.
Yes.
Shut up.
Shut the what?
I just said shut up. I
Be
did not.
quiet, if you would, please,
Okay.
and let him speak.
Okay,
Malcolm?
I thought I
The
heard
point-
that right.
Oh, Malcolm.
The point being is that, and you're all right about this. I mean, he and Lois Fruworth have something else planned. There's something else going on there that they're not making known, and this isn't the first time members of this council have decided to do things somewhat clandestinely.
Well,
They've done it in the past, and they'll do it again.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I mean, honestly, I know we're just a few months away from a new mayor.
Yeah.
Phil Good leaves office in November. Lois Fruworth still has 2 years on her seat, I believe, and then
well,
we see
she's
what
only
happens.
she's
The
only
most
been on a year
transparent
since last
council
election.
in history. Just like the
Oh,
most
yeah, right.
transparent presidency in history. Until the facts come out.
Oh, this council's been anything but transparent.
Yep.
I mean, look at the investigations when Robin Sabota was being fired, and then Katie Gregory was also being fired. There was this big investigation out there. Did you get to see any of those things? Were they made public? Were the results of that investigation made public? No, they were not. If they were made public, one of the candidates for mayor would not be electable.
What's the root reason for all this going on? Why it didn't used to be like this.
Never.
Now all of a sudden it is. What's the root reason for why this is happening?
I don't know.
I can't explain that without using expletives.
Yeah. Yes, I concur.
Okay.
Well,
right.
we all
Well,
we
that,
all
that
know
gives me an answer.
we all know there's some subterfuge,
Okay.
and what it falls back
Oh
on.
my God, it's Prescott, Arizona.
First of all, those three people, for their behavior in this appointment process, need to resign, because their loyalties are not to the city of
That ain't
Prescott.
gonna happen.
And who do they think they are? But the whole thing is this elitist, what we're calling Telluride syndrome, of a whole bunch of people here that totally misunderstand the issues the city is facing, have the wrong priorities, and expect all the rest of us just to fall in line.
To pay the price for rainbows and unicorns.
Yep. Okay, we're going to take a break here on KYCA. We're down to that point. Everybody stick around. We got a lot more to go here on the PM show. Back after. And we're back here on the KYCAPM show. It's the panel of all knowledge. Ha ha. We'll see how that works out. But basically, we know we see a problem with the city, and we were looking at the candidates that are running for mayor. By the way, I know that there's a lot of debates. There's a lot of forums coming up, things like that. We're already seeing a problem with the debate that's coming up on, I believe, next Friday, June 5th. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Was it Friday or Thursday? It's Thursday. Excuse me. Yeah, okay, it's Thursday. And Malcolm, I know you don't like to talk, but let's get the microphone over there. So, yeah.
I'll be in London. I'll miss it.
I know.
Some of the wags around town are talking about the group that didn't want to go to the one forum having arranged for another
Their
forum
own forum
of their
with
own.
just those three.
Is that true?
I don't
Yes.
know.
Okay.
Yes,
I don't
it is.
know, but some of the wags are talking about it.
They're having their own forum at another place at the same day, same time, and it's pretty obvious about who's going to turn out there.
It's going to be interesting.
So they're,
Yeah, and this
so they're
isn't unique to
handpicking
Prescott.
their own audience.
Yes.
What's
Are-
what's
they're-
that, Tom?
This kind of behavior isn't unique to Prescott, of course.
Yeah.
There's a great book out if you ever get the opportunity to read it. It's called The Crazies, and it's about the mountain range in Montana,
Okay.
and it's all about the billionaires moving in there, telling the people that have lived there for generations how they should be living their lives.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
That is
Yep.
the exact same thing. It happened to Sedona. It happened to Cloudcroft, New Mexico.
Santa Fe.
Oh, Santa
Angel
Fe's been
Fire.
a lost
You
cause.
name it.
Yeah, and the same thing is happening here, and it's that type of attitude that's moved in here, and all of us poor hicks that have been here as long as we've been, we're just irrelevant.
The elitists are here
To
to
the
tell
world
us
they want
how
to
to save us from ourselves.
The world they want to build.
All right. Do we want to take a phone call?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
We'd love to
Everybody
hear
get
what
your
Tom's
get
got
your
to say.
headphones on, and let's go ahead and bring line one on very quickly. Tom, are you on? There you are. How you doing?
Well, one of your panel asked what's up. My opinion is that the existing council is looking for and trying to get a super majority. Once they do that, they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
And my opinion is this town's in big trouble. The voters of Prescott better wake up and have an idea what they're doing with that super majority.
You're talking about the cabal, the machine that's been built over the last few years, gaining control.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to go to AutoPen.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Tom, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, we'll see,
Yeah.
the election is only 2 months away.
Tom, I fear your perspective is pretty much on target.
Yeah. And again, if that were to happen, you look up the rules. Once any entity, but especially our city council, with the way they're leaning, if they get a supermajority, nobody can stop what they want to accomplish.
Right.
Unless we sue them and, all kinds of
Oh.
other
Yeah.
problems, but pretty much.
And then you'd have a mess, which we already
Oh,
have, but it could be a lot worse. It would be a
Yeah,
lot.
recalls, you'd have a legal mess, recalls. So again, to prevent that, we need to get the correct people in there, in my opinion.
Well, we're pricing ourselves out of success.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tom, thank you. I'm going to
You
move
bet.
on now if you don't mind. Thank you for calling. Guys, I just wanted to bring this up real quick because we do have a little bit of time. In case you don't have the Watch Duty app, this is the app that
Right, the
shows us
fires.
the fires here. We just got a notification that a few moments ago there is a quarter-acre fire with low spread potential south of Prescott. Crews are putting down a wet line right now. It's called the Evergreen Fire. It is in the 1200 block of Schmitz Road in Groom Creek right now.
Okay.
So it's south of town. They're working on it right now. And,
A lot of dry ponderosas out there.
well, fortunately,
Well,
you
not
know,
so dry.
yeah.
The recent rains have really wetted the forest.
Yep. So everybody just keep that in mind, and hopefully they'll be able to knock this down pretty fast. It seems like they're on top of it pretty quick.
Well, Jason, if I remember correctly, when the Indian fire came through, you had won an award for the remarkable job that you had done in reporting that.
I didn't win an award.
What was the date of the Indian fire?
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
It was 2002. Yeah.
May 15th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a very early fire for us.
Yes. And a
had-
devastating
And
one.
you did
We
an
had-
outstanding job
Thank you.
of keeping the community informed.
You know
Thank
what I
you.
remember?
As did JP.
As did JP,
I'll tell
who
you what I
managed to break through the Yavapai county sheriff's department line and go and report directly from some of the evacuated neighborhoods.
He did. He
That
I
did.
was fun.
remember seeing ashes falling down on me in the Home Depot
Yes.
parking
Yeah,
lot.
we had
It was
live
raining
embers
ash.
falling at the house.
I remember the
and here.
Safeway store opening their doors and say, "Come and get whatever you need." With the fire department, which I thought was a really, really good thing
Yeah,
to do.
absolutely.
the Safeway
Love
down
that.
on
Yeah.
Copper Basin was
Right.
putting out pallets of water.
Yes, they
direct-
were.
Said just take them.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. It was,
And thank goodness they did. We had a
Yep.
lot of good things that happened that night that kept it from being a whole lot
Yes,
worse.
we did.
So
And
Can-
we
can
we
we-
didn't even have the forest sprinkled then.
I know.
oh,
I'm
yes.
saying that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I know.
Interesting idea. If they're willing to pay for it and buy the water,
What
Why-
for the sprinkler?
Why not?
if yeah,
I really want to get a fire expert and ask them about the efficacy of using a 2-inch water line to put down a 1,500-foot long sprinkler line to stop a wildfire. That's
Well, I don't think they
Doesn't make
wanted to
sense.
stop it. I think it's more of an effort to try and slow it.
for 4 seconds.
yeah.
You want to slow it, you build a 100-yard long fire line, and you sprinkle the outside, the roofs of all the homes. At the homeowner's cost, I might add.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
Okay.
Can we fall back on some of the things
Okay.
Tom brought up there? I
Sure.
would-
Sorry, Tom. Go
No,
ahead. I just
I'm-
wanted to interrupt this. And,
Well,
get
that's
that in.
important, and it's a significant issue around here.
All right. So go ahead.
One of the council candidates signs have started to appear, and the website is on there, and it says voteforwater.com.
Okay.
And I'm curious as to what that particular candidate believes that means and what that's a
I'd
reference
like to know.
I would like to know, yeah.
Well, that is a question for the forums, I suppose.
And it was for at least a few of the candidates.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon Montoya's got a big sign up that says "Protect the Water."
Well,
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Means he's playing the field.
Well, it seems like that there are certain
Billboard.
catchphrases that grab attention.
Yeah.
Here it's water, and here it's fire.
Well,
and
I
here, you know.
thought Montoya was going to get the campaign slogan, "Let's go, Brandon." But,
I think that's taken.
oh, was it?
I think that's been taken.
Well, he's running around in an old police car campaigning.
I saw that yesterday.
Yep.
So we have some elements of an old Prescott campaign. We have some new elements. We have all sorts of different things. Does this mean anything? Do we have? Are we? Yes. It seems that every 2 years we say this is perhaps the most important election of our lifetime,
Yes.
and
Or every 4 years.
or every 4 years.
Yeah.
And yes,
do.
it's very important. It's hard to keep Prescott down. It's hard to keep any town down. And guess what? It's going to change. Regardless of what some people who move into town want,
Yeah.
it is going to change.
Well, I think somebody hit on it again on the street discussions about the election this year and the public's attitude, and it's been a growing attitude for a number of years, but it's that I'm here now, absolutely changed nothing, and after I'm dead, I don't care.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
I
and
like
that
your-
seems to be an attitude.
I like your attitude about water mining and ADWR. Anybody who moved here and built a new house when water mining was declared has to leave.
1998, we declared water mining, and everybody who's moved here since is part of the problem.
Needs to go home.
Needs to go
Unless
home.
they bought an existing home.
Except in all this talk about water crisis,
Yes.
there is none. And
Right.
Arizona truly actually uses less water today. Salt River Project reports this. Arizona actually uses less water today than it did in 1950 because of all the elimination of agriculture by the subdivisions.
And it
They use less water than agriculture
and the
did.
same holds true for our
75
AMA with all the crops. Remember the big circle crops out
Oh,
Chino
yeah.
Valley?
But even with all that, and I've said this a million times, in our AMA, there is no scenario that allows us to get to safe yield without importing water. It can't be done. We have to import water.
Yeah.
Safe
And
yield
we've-
is a paper number.
Hence we own the Big Chino.
And that's
The
why
water right.
that's why we bought
Well,
the
the water
machine.
formula
That's being
says our
threatened to be
only
taken away from
source.
us.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's been threatened to be taken away from
The
us.
the the formula for our water supply is that which falls from the skies and drains off into the water table. That's it. There's no other water
I remember-
import
That's
other than
right.
rainfall. But that's not
I
right.
remember one of the reporters on a radio
have
station
to-
after we bought the lakes asking, well, now that the city's bought them, how do you fill them up? And I just said, pray for rain.
Yeah. Well,
What's the issue?
we don't even own the water that runs off from rainfall. SRP owns that.
Correct.
Well, no, it was adjudicated, and the judge's exact words were, "You do not own the rain." So they have to go into a water course, so before they can claim it. So it has to get into Granite Creek or Aspen Creek or any of the other creeks.
Or
A
that
bona fide water course before they say that they
or
can own
that
it.
navigable waterway
it's
that
up on-
Walmart had
But
to
if,
get
it's, but if
full-
it's on the
full
surface,
permit
they
for.
get dibs.
If it's surface
it's under
water.
under
once
the
it's
ground.
once it's in a waterway, yeah.
All right, we've got to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. We've got one of the honorary members of the committee, the panel, is on and wants to talk, so we'll make room for him when we come back here on KYCAPM. What? Don't look at me like that. What, Malcolm? Go ahead.
I can't wait to hear
I'm
what he has
just
to
guessing who the caller is.
No, that would be Mr. Blair. We will see after the break here on
we're in for
KYCA.
some entertainment.
Esteban in Iberia.
Esteban Blair.
Yes. All right. Back after this. And we're back. It's time for the second half of the KYCAPM show. The panel of all knowledge, the Mulligan Group.
And it's about to get better.
Oh, I guess so. We'll allow one of the honorary members of the panel on line one, I suppose.
A former nonpartisan council
Nonpartisan
member.
councilman.
Yeah.
And that would be Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair, how are you today?
I'm living the dream and wish the dream would come true where all these people that are on council and running for council would go away.
No, Steve, tell us what you really think.
You know what? It's real simple for me. You know, being on council for as long as I was and watching the group that you have there on council that love the community that they serve, I find it very interesting to take an honest, objective look at Kathy Rusinger, Phil Good, and some of the other people about their vision of what they've done for Prescott in the last 4 years, especially Kathy Rusinger and Phil Good. They've done nothing positive for the city except tear it apart with regional communication and everything else. But what really bothers me is the simple fact that, you know, we had, as you guys put it out there, investigations and all kinds of reports and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, enough on that. Yes.
Just remembered Stringfield Ranch. Boy, they shut that down, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? The bottom line is I spoke with several lawyers about those, well, I guess you would call it reports.
Now, enough.
Because
Blair.
Enough?
Steve, I just got my butt chewed out.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And it wasn't by
I'm not
me.
gonna go there, but I would just tell you, if these people are truly about the good of the community, they shut down Stringfield Ranch, they shut down the cell tower of lack of communication on Williamson Valley Road, and now on council agenda today to buy more property at the airport to preserve what? Cockroaches on the runway, I'm not sure.
Well,
But
that's
we
to
have
preserve
spent more
growth by
money
expanding the airport.
on open space. But these folks out there are not good for the city of Prescott, and we need to have somebody that pays attention to streets, roads, and the health of this community.
They chased off 2 hotel projects. They chased off the Chew Tea store. They've chased off the retail center that Giese had out on the northern part of his project. And where are they going to get the tax money now that the sales tax is off of home rentals? They had to get a sales tax increase to pay for their mismanagement of the department budgets so they could continue to fund the police and fire departments. Now, where are they going
to got a pay raise?
Where are they going to make up for where are they going to make up for
Hey, you guys, I'm going to get off the
they got a
line, but I
pay
would
raise.
ask one question.
Yeah.
Where are we going to find somebody that focuses on the good of what Prescott, Arizona needs to have?
That's what
And
we
it's
need.
Not these people that are there right now.
We need some more business people to stand up and community leaders to stand up and take their turn.
Okay.
The embarrassment when I was in Spain to read that our city council voted 2 people that they're not, this person's not Republican in a nonpartisan race, and to back out and not vote, and as well as Connie can tell me to vote the way she voted, it was a total embarrassment. I've never seen anything like it.
So they made it partisan, and that's what happened.
Absolutely, they did.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyhow, you guys are doing a great job. I'll listen to you. Thank you, Jason, for putting a lip lock on me.
You're quite welcome, I'm sure. All right. Cut his mic. Thank you.
Is that possible?
Yes.
Oh, you can cut the mic.
I
Yeah.
can cut
Yes,
the mic.
you
That's
can.
right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We're up against the next break here on KYCA. We're going to regroup, and we will be back after this. And welcome back. We're back on the KYCAPM show. Everybody's in the minus today. Blair loses automatically just because. So, Malcolm, congratulations.
You got to carry that forward.
Yeah, I know. I got to carry that forward. What else is not happening around here? I mean, yes, Tom.
Well, what's not happening, the rodeo's not happening.
We could
the
use
widening
that
of Highway 89 in the Narrows is not
Yes.
happening.
Sundog Connector's not happening?
Sundog Connector's not happening. Water import from the Big Chino is not happening. So, I mean, these are major issues that the candidates really need to address, and they're not.
You're saying there's some bigger issues than gas-powered leaf blowers and things like that?
Gas-powered leaf blowers.
Yeah.
Yes. Brandon Montoya
not-
wanted to outlaw gas-powered weed blowers in the city of Prescott. He suggested it.
Oh, mein Gott.
Yes, yes.
Speaking German now?
Jawohl. Yeah.
So he should be really in favor of pocket nukes, small modular reactors that can supply an entire
Well, anyway,
community.
let's stick. I mean, there are a lot of major issues that are out there that are facing this community.
Immediate
Yes.
issues.
You know, immediate issues, and they do need to be addressed. They need to be addressed seriously, and they are not popular. And the people that address these things and solve these problems may not get reelected. But the point is that you're elected to solve problems. You're elected to be out there and do the right thing for the right reasons, and that's what people need to have the courage to do.
And all of this, the appointment fiasco, calls to mind Harry Truman's "If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen."
Well, the thing that's so
They need to go. They need to go.
the thing that's so frustrating is that the foundation for some of these big problems have been laid, and all we have to do
For
is follow
decades.
them.
Yes.
And people are ignoring
It's
what
been-
previous councils have set
It's
up.
been
for
part
them
of the
to
city planning for the last 40 years.
forever.
The measure of true leadership is doing the right thing rather than what is popular.
Well,
You
there
don't
go.
That's
you don't
exactly
count
what-
your fingers whoever shows up in council chambers.
That's exactly
Well,
what's happening.
It's
And
frustration.
it's frustrating. It's frustrating as all get out. But the issue is that we're not. The city is not spending the time that it needs to spend in educating the public fully about all the issues that are out there, number one. And that's one of the primary functions of elected officials, is to help educate the public. They're not doing that. And what they're doing is they're falling into either partisanship, or they're out there doing what's popular. What this group that is backing me, what do they want me to talk about?
Yeah.
What do they not want me to
Well,
talk
that's
about?
Special interest.
That's exactly what
Getting into
happened
the
with
special
the
interest.
Williamson Valley cell tower.
Yeah.
You know, okay, an ugly cell tower next to the pre-existing ugly cell tower, next to the ugly water tank. But
Right.
there were 50 people sitting in in the council meeting, said we don't want it. So they looked at him and said, "Okay, we
People
voted."
happened with the
People coming to
connection.
softball tournaments or don't want to look up and see a cell tower. You want to bet? That's the first thing they look at. You can look at every one of them on their cell phones
All the
way
time.
through the game.
And I'll bet all of those people that were there talking against it owned one of those things too.
Yep. You think?
What's the biggest thing that needs to be addressed among the many things that need to be addressed?
Water.
Well, immediate number one, widening 89.
No, water. I would disagree.
You're
I
not
think
going to solve water in the next 10
the,
years.
it's not a matter of solving it. The solution's in place.
Yeah, has
What it
been
is now
for
is
years.
it needs the political will to be able to go follow through and implement
Yeah.
the solution that is already in place.
Yeah.
And it's not happening.
Right.
And this is the mining of Big Chino and importing
The
water.
water.
out of
Importing
the
water
water
from
line.
Big Chino.
from Big Chino.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
The whole
run the
thing's
Big Chino.
been put in
I mean,
place
the Dugan
for
well.
35 years.
Why aren't we pumping the Dugan well?
Why aren't we pumping
Well,
the Dugan well?
the reality is that I've understood that ADWR is basically come back to the city and said, hey, if you guys don't use this Chino water, we're going to take it away from you.
Use it or
Yeah.
lose it.
What the letter said, which the city did not respond to, and I got a copy of it at home. I should have brought it. What the letter says is, if you do not exercise the importing of the water, then they're going to take it away from our allocation, not our allocation.
Portfolio.
Thank you, our portfolio.
It's perfect.
And you will not be able to say that we can provide a 100-year water supply
So
to
we
our
can-
citizens.
So we can shut down all future growth. Housing prices skyrocket.
and that-
Existing homeowners benefit from that. And it's just like
And only the
Open-
right
and-
caliber people live here.
And the
acquiring
letter,
open space around the airport so we can expand
And-
development.
and- well,
but we
and-
don't want development.
Yeah.
and the letter, and the
what?
letter that I'm referring to is 2 years old.
Yeah.
And it's never been addressed by the city of Prescott.
And should have been worked on immediately.
Sleeping dogs.
It
Yeah.
and what's going to happen if they do take away our
Well,
out
then
of our
you
portfolio?
then you
Then
lose your
everybody's
cert-
hair will be on
your-
fire.
you'll lose
certain
the
people
certif-
There are certain people there now that want that to happen.
They
Yes.
want that.
Yes.
They
Yes,
definitely
they want
that.
that.
They want
Well,
that to happen, but and so they're taking the ostrich
how
approach
much-
to problem solving. And
Okay, how much of it is the bureaucracy not wanting to do the project because it's extra work? I mean, how much is that going on too?
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
But I do know there
sometimes
are
we're-
council members that are wholly owned subsidiaries of the machine. And
Well,
that's exactly what you just said is they want it to stop. They want
want
to
it to
lose
shut
the
down.
allocation. They want to lose the certification as a water supplier. And then
Well, the
it
economy
shuts
of our
down.
community
It-
is
Yes.
kind of important, and we need to make sure
Oh.
that we. Oh my goodness!
well, you know, maybe
yeah.
it is a good thing.
What
I can
about
sell, I can sell my house and move to Telluride.
Yeah. What about the what
You
about
might be
the
able to
economy?
afford it.
That's right.
What about growing the economy? They give all this lip service to workforce housing, and yet every action they've taken is totally contrary to that and continues to make home prices more expensive.
Well, we'll make everybody feel better by hiring a director to study it and get back to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
We're,
Yeah.
we're paying lip service
Yep.
to the issue,
Yep.
not addressing the
Yeah.
issue.
Money
And
you
I've-
could have spent
yeah,
on the
and-
the police.
And the Big Chino Water Project, I've heard $200 million to run water through a pipe for 18 miles.
Nah.
It's water. It's not some kind of a chemical.
And we
it's water.
already have the easement for it
Yes.
from
Well,
our
you-
good friend
Well,
Ron James.
You-
Yes.
Deepwell
I,
Ranch.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but when the Keystone Pipeline was canceled
Yeah.
by President Biden,
Yeah.
yours truly went to the city of Prescott and said, "Buy that pipeline, take it up
What
there,
if-
and
Just
lay
stock it.
It's,
Lay it
yes,
along.
Yeah.
exactly. Because
Stock
it's
it
good
right
enough
away.
for oil. It's good enough for water, and I bet you could get a nickel.
Well, just
on
like
dollar.
all those prefab sections of the border wall that sat out on the desert for
Well,
4
yeah.
years and
Well-
have now in the last 4 months been installed.
Well, of course,
will
I got
tell
to
you, there
this
are
when I went
those-
over to the city.
There are
Yeah.
those that
That's-
would like to buy all the old border wall and put it up around the city of Prescott
Yeah.
because
No.
that's in effect what they're doing.
Yeah. If the thing they don't understand, and they really need to, is that if the policies they're promoting and these things they're doing had been in place 30 years ago,
wouldn't
they
care.
would not be here because their subdivisions would not have been built.
Nope.
I remember when I was when Deepwell Ranch was doing one of their first projects around in the airport area.
Right.
I remember I was having lunch with then Councilman Steve Shishka, and I told him, what I thought about that, and he just said to me, he says, "Why don't you come to council meeting this afternoon and say exactly that?" So I went to the council meeting,
Oh boy.
and I stood there and I said, when I was on council and I was sitting up where they were, there was a project that was coming to town that if we voted for it, dogs would start living with cats. Life as we know it would end. It would not be a pretty sight.
Oh, Prescott
and that was
Lakes.
called Prescott Lakes.
Yeah.
How much?
Which is still not built out.
How
Yeah.
much of what we're saying right now sounds like "get off my lawn"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A bunch of old guys sitting around this table, griping and moaning. How do we affect what we need to get done, change, so that we get headed in the right direction? What do
That's
we
Well,
do?
one of the
pronoun,
things that
by
we're
the way.
doing right now
What's that?
is
My pronoun is get off my lawn.
Yeah.
one of the things that we are doing here is that hopefully we're doing some education.
Well,
There are people that are out there that are listening to this, and they'll take to heart the fact that, the current council is basically taking an ostrich approach to solving some major problems that this city is facing, and they'll realize that, and they'll start asking candidates the right questions,
Right.
and they'll start voting. We hope for the right candidates that are going to help solve these problems.
And the economy is what is suffering because of this, and it is producing less, and the taxes are going to have to go up again. And I don't know where they're going to put it They're not gonna get another 1 cent sales tax through. Are they going to dump it on the property tax?
Well, thankfully
what are they
that
gonna
is
do?
limited
With the-
by charter, but
Yeah.
they could do a charter amendment as well.
Yes, they can. They just did it, and it was not the pay raise so much as the COLA
Right.
that was attached to it
Right.
that takes away from the voters the right to set that stipend in the future. And now they get an automatic pay raise every year.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to have to call a halt here. This has been fun, but we have to take a break. So, KYCAPM, folks. We're in our final break, so we're not going to take any more phone calls, but we'll go around the room and maybe we'll discuss predictions. Maybe I'm just going to hide under the table. I don't know. It's just one of those days. All right, back after this. And welcome back to our final segment. As usual, when I state something, nobody listens, and therefore we're going to take another caller. Let's go to line one, and former nonpartisan city councilman Steve Sischka. Hello, Steve.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Well, we've had better days, Steve.
Hey, listen, I was listening when Blair was calling you.
Oh, sorry about that.
He mentioned Stringfield Ranch. And I had some figures back in 2021. I asked Mark Woodfill, who was the finance director for the city, I asked Mark Woodfill, what is the impact of us not annexing Stringfield Ranch? And the total impact between impact fees, construction sales taxes, and property taxes is $722,400, and that was back in 21
per year.
Yeah, per year.
Well, not all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the construction sales
It's
tax.
going to take 10 years, 20 years to build that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and we're also not able to collect any internet sales taxes from those guys.
Correct. All online sales are taxed by the municipality where the buyer lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Good
You know,
point.
it's unfortunate, but true, and I think that we can thank Mayor Good and council member at the time Rusine for that.
Which in effect
So-
Well,
have
it's
a
the-
super minority vote.
It's the no growth attitude, and we're cutting off our nose to spite our face.
That's exactly right.
Well, Mayor
So
Good.
anyway, guys, have a great evening, and I'm out of here.
Thank
All
you.
right,
They're
thanks,
All right.
Steve.
going to get home in time for
care.
the ball game at 6.
There you go. And
All
Mr.
right.
Mr. Sischka,
That's a long
Mr.
ride from the
Sischka gets
station.
10 points positive for keeping it brief. Okay.
Very good.
Well, he brought up a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Well,
huge.
they didn't want
it was
those
a huge
cheesy
loss.
little rural lots like
Well-
Mayor Good lives in Southview.
Well, what I love is Eagle Ridge 2 didn't want Eagle Ridge 3,
Yeah.
Yep.
and Eagle Ridge 1, 2, and 3
Didn't want Eagle Ridge
Prescott
4.
Lakes,
Or
and
Prescott
Prescott
Lake.
Lakes didn't want Pinion Oaks, and nobody wanted Deep Well, and nobody wanted the Fleury neighborhood in the 1920s either. And now those are, I mean, it's the same thing.
Never stops.
You cannot stop growth.
No.
It's just a matter of, I think, personally talking about the business growth and the growth of revenue.
Yeah.
Well, the
and that's going to be a big issue going forward because we just took that hit in sales tax.
Yeah.
Now, do homes follow business growth, or does business growth follow rooftops?
I don't know.
If
Rooftops
business will not located without a certain number of rooftops in
Rooftops are first.
Yeah.
True.
That's
Okay.
true, yeah.
Look at the lack of any grocery store on 89A. With all that growth, the closest grocery store is still down Glassford Hill Road, almost to the highway.
Correct.
And same thing, the commercial growth in Prescott Valley didn't happen until they had the rooftops there.
Correct.
So now then it blew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're going to see where we go from here. And, of course, we have one more edition of the show before the election.
Okay.
Actually, we have two more. End of June, end of July.
Oh, correct.
So we've got a very long way to go on this election before we actually get to the point of an
Well,
election.
we need to make clear what the election's really about.
Yeah.
And if you want to be Telluride and only the right caliber people living here,
Well, the people,
that's one way to vote. And if you want a family-friendly, growing economy, you got to vote the other way.
and the candidates who are running for office better be crystal clear about what their positions are on some of these issues, so the public knows what to do.
That's right. And, of course, we have all the candidates coming in. We've already had a couple on Karen Phan's show in the afternoon. And Karen will be having all of the candidates in the afternoon on her show. We've had Mary Fredrickson
That's
on.
Karen's another one of those former
Non-partisan.
nonpartisan council
She
members,
is.
isn't
And
she?
she
Yeah.
was nonpartisan on council.
Yeah, she
I
was.
can vouch for that.
Yes.
And so that she's going to be having all the candidates. We've already got a few from her. Mary Fredrickson was on in the morning with Mary Ann Suttles a few weeks ago. I believe you said Greg Lazelle's coming in on Thursday. And I believe we have... I'll have to check with Mary Ann Suttles. I think she has Brandon Montoya coming in, but I'm not, don't hold me to that.
All right.
I've got to check my
double
schedule.
check.
So anyway, we're just about down to the end. I'm tired, folks. This was a long hour.
There
Let me
was-
tell
No,
you.
you were
the-
relieved with
yeah.
the lack of pressure during the show to your normal schedule.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
The problem is while there's nothing happening, there is so much to cover
There is
that you
truth.
cannot literally get through it and do it justice issue by issue
Right.
in an hour's time.
And
Well, I'm
that-
glad for the callers. I think they added a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
well, they're honorary members of the council, so here we go of the panel. That is
Of the nonpartisan council.
panel. Yes. Okay. There we are. Final thoughts around the table, real quick, as we head out of Memorial Day and into the summer, and the and really, I've always heard that the local campaign never really takes off until the 4th of July because ballots come out around the 6th or 7th. But I get the feeling this is going to be a long campaign.
Okay, I've got a prediction.
Go ahead.
I'm going to believe the weather forecasters. We're going to have an early start for our monsoons, and we're going to
Yes.
have a late finish. I'm hoping for a lot of
You bet.
rain
Absolutely
this summer.
right.
Well, the La Nina, El Nino, whichever
all
one it
it's
was,
It's La
they
Nina
both
this
went.
year.
They
They're-
both went
they're
away, and it's
predicting.
going to be wet. So
Yep.
Yep.
Tom,
We'll see.
any last thoughts?
No, just pay attention, folks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good
that's
advice.
that's the best advice right
Yeah.
there.
and I'll
Bill?
second that.
Absolutely, Malcolm.
First big monsoon, June 27th.
I'll tell you what. We'll talk about that.
That'll work.
Let's see. It's end of May, end of June. By end of June, we may have a good idea. We'll
It'll
take
be raining.
predictions then.
It'll
How
be
about
raining
that?
in our next.
Our
get
next
together.
our next get together. Well, you know what? I'm looking at our next get together, and I might say no. Then again, look at all the applications I had today. Mr. Staley, Mr. Blair, Mr. Sishka. We might have an alternate panel next time. I
Could be.
Maybe that would be safer.
don't know. Maybe you're gonna be back.
I'll be back.
Okay. All right. And folks, I hope you're going to be back tomorrow night too, because Karen's going to be here. We appreciate what everybody has said. Guys, thanks for coming in. Bye-bye.